43 years ago, I met Don Savage in Taylor Yards. That's a large railroad yard in Los Angeles. Many, many tracks. Very, very dangerous place. I didn't go in there very much because of it's so dangerous. It's a big trap, a big maze. Maybe 50 tracks and trains on all of them and nowhere to go, and you can't get away from them. You can't crawl under them because they might move. You have to watch out for the yard police. It's a dangerous place. You can't hear cars coming up behind you. There's so much noise going on. And I went in there anyway, and I got lucky one day. I met Don Savage. He was standing in a gondola car, and I managed to get in the gondola car with him. You see, you have to, as far as I'm concerned, I do documentary photography and street photography. It's your appearance and your demeanor and how you talk and how you present yourself and what you look like to the average person that counts. You know, photographers are very scary people when they have that camera. And so you have to act in a way to get over the influence that the camera makes on somebody. It scares them. And so you have to act in a way to get over that. And so I saw Don standing there, and I forget what I had said to him, but I act like a serious documentary photographer, but I also change the pressure. I take the pressure off the person by making the person think that I'm only interested in photographing the trains. And that takes the pressure off. They don't think they're the subject. They don't think that they're being pressured by the glass eye of the camera. Here's a young man comes down there, and Don Savage, the man in the train, thinks, well, he's interested in trains. That's fine. That's wonderful. Yeah, come on up. You can come up in the car with me. And I did. That's the only time I got in a car. It's just too dangerous, and I don't know what I was thinking. And he told me he was a double murderer and just got out of prison, did 13 years for double murder. But I could tell he was a nice person. He had nothing against me, and I didn't sense any real danger with the man. And so I turned into the documentary photographer, and trying not to forget the different elements and factors and details that I wanted to incorporate in the pictures of Don Savage and his lifestyle. And so you make believe you're photographing the other trains, but you're constantly looking at the subject, and you're constantly thinking of ways to get close in a casual manner that will not upset the person. And then there's the technical side. You know, it's when the energy level is high and you're nervous, you're with a stranger in a particularly dangerous place, it's difficult to think about the technical aspects of what you're doing. And I saw that train start to pull out over to the right. And so I stopped down my aperture probably to f/22 and slowed the shutter speed way down to probably half a second maybe to catch the motion in that train pulling out. As another element, it's another factor that you can use in your camera to denote what's going on, the action. And so I got a little blur on that train to show that it was moving out. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that even in a tense emotional situation that I was in there with photographing Don, I still had to remember the technical aspects of what I was doing and what I wanted to create and the mood I wanted to deliver to the person who was looking at my photograph. But when you're shooting and you're very nervous, of course, it's a tense situation, but you can't forget the technical aspects and the control of your camera and the different possibilities, the different adjustments on the camera enable you to have over the subject. The idea that you're using a wide-angle lens to show more of the background, more of the trains, and the necessity of getting close to Don for that close-up shot, and still looks like you're looking at the trains in the background and not so much as him. But it only takes 500th of a second to make that shot, so the focusing has to be done very quickly. You can focus off-center. In other words, I can move the camera over this way, and it looks like I'm focusing on a train. But with the SLR camera, the single lens reflex, I can focus anywhere in the viewfinder. So as I'm pointing it over here, I can focus here on Don this way, and he doesn't even know it. And then I just quickly move the camera over and make the shot and go back to looking at the trains again. But this is what it is. It's a constant act that you put on. The way the doctor puts on an act when he's going to give a 2-year-old child an injection, holds up a puppet, makes a funny face, and then gives her the shot, lying to her to make it more comfortable for her to get the shot. And that's what I do. I lie to these people by making believe I'm interested in something else, but it's only to put them at ease and to take the pressure off, which is caused by me and the camera, the prying eye of the camera. That's the part that you got to get over. So you got to be a nice guy. You got to be a real relaxed guy. You can't be intimidating because that's what the camera does. So you have to get over the camera by being nice and being maybe a little crazy, I don't know, to get up in a car with that guy and take pictures and then get out and make your way out of those yards without getting busted. Big chore. Big chore. Where's Don now, you know? If you're going to be a documentary photographer, be prepared. Be prepared with a big smile. Don't look like a photographer. Look like you're on your day off in some casual clothing. I've been talking about getting close, but I really want to explain the main reason why it is so important for the photographer to get that lens close to the subject. We've all seen millions of photographs in our lifetime, and most of them we look away very quickly because there's not enough in that photograph or in that picture to hold our attention. And so we dismiss it and we go on to something else. So this is what the photographer has to deal with when they're making images. They have to realize that people have all seen millions of photographs, and what you show them better be pretty good or they're going to toss it aside. They're going to lose interest and they're going to get rid of it. And so getting close, it forces them. It almost hits the viewer with your photograph. It gets close. They can't avoid the content of the photograph because you managed to get close enough to accentuate everything that's in the photograph. The elements, factors, and detail. The factor of the time, the elements of how many things are lying around in the room, all the details combined. Cartier-Bresson has told us it's all in the details when asked how he does it. He said it's all in the details, arranging the details, getting close enough so that the viewer has no excuse not to see it. It's right there, and the viewer automatically realizes that the photographer was a part of the situation that they photographed because they were so close. That's a thing that we all have to work on because it's so difficult for polite people to get in the face of other people, especially with a camera. But if you sincerely believe in what you're doing is a noble cause, that love and that devotion will force you to get in the proper position to make that photograph so that it is an effective emotional response is caused in the viewer of your photograph because you got close and you manipulated the camera and you went in the backyard, you practiced with it so you wouldn't be uncomfortable with the device. Bingo, bingo. That's how quick it is. 500th of a second. 500th of a second and you've got something. But don't be afraid to get close or you're going to miss it. Don't think like a human. You think like a great photographer. You think like a great photographer, and a great photographer is trying to help the world. He's trying to soothe the world. He's trying to educate the world. That's what you do. It's a tremendous power to have. Don't waste it by feeling afraid